We'll start with hands on the lower abdomen, one on top of the other. And we'll just take a moment, feel our feet on the earth or on the ground, the floor. Feel the belly beneath your hands. Inhale, let the belly puff out. Exhale, let the belly pull back in towards the spine. I'm going to start real simple here. Just a lower abdominal breathing in and out. And then let's connect lower abdomen to the heart center. So one hand on the abdomen, one hand on the chest. Feel the wave of the breath coming up and then down. And up and down, in and out. And then we'll do this real fun variation. It's heart-centric. Let's take the palms together at the center of the chest, not touching the chest, maybe an inch or two or three away from your chest, so you're not actually touching it. Take a nice inhale, and as we exhale, you're just going to turn or rotate, I should say, the wrists so the fingers point down. You're pressing in to the base, the palms are together, fingers down, and then rotate your hands so the fingers point back up. Continue to rotate in towards your chest. So it's a little bit of a wrist stretch here. So right into that center point. And then we'll exhale, we'll rotate the fingers all the way so they're facing down. And a nice slow inhale, rotating all the way around so the fingers point in. So we'll go nice and slow, exhaling as we rotate downward. Nice slow inhale as we rotate upward and then in. So we're sort of we're connecting and directing energy right into the center of the chest. And one more time. Inhaling right into the center of the chest and let the arms drop down. You can shake out the wrists. It's a really good incorporation of breathing and that real gentle stretch. You know, we're tight. Forearms are tight, so it's really good for the forearms and wrists. So shake them all out. And let's go into knocking on the door of life. So turning from the hips and the waist, let's knock across the lower abdomen, the low back, turning from the center. If it feels good, if we turn and look over the shoulder as we rotate, you're going to extend the stretch all the way to the base of the neck. A little bit of stretch into the shoulder. If that doesn't feel good, you don't have to turn the head. But we're still turning from the center. And then up right below the collarbone. Let's get the lungs going here. And then all the way to the top of the shoulders. And then back down below the collarbone. and then back down to the waist. And start to slow down, unwind. Okay, we are activating. We're going to do the spinal cord breathing with the twist, but we're going to add a slight variation. We're going to do a double, I guess, inhale. So bear with me. I'll go through it. Let's start facing forward though. So inhale the hands up by the head, and then exhale, curling the spine forward, chin tucking down towards the chest. Let's just start real easy and simple. Inhaling at the center, exhaling at the center. Just feeling all the muscles along the spine. Getting a very gentle stretch here. All those joints along the spine. Getting some space. Okay, on the next inhale, we're going to rotate over to your left as we inhale and look up. Now stay over to the left. Exhale to the left. Inhale to the left. And then come to the center and exhale forward. So we do a double inhale. Let's rotate over to the right as we inhale. Exhale to the right. Sending energy to the right side of the body. Inhale again to the right, and then come to the center and exhale. So just a slight variation. So we just hang out here for an additional inhale and exhale. We're just using this to really kind of give right and left a little bit more attention, and then exhale to the center. Nice and slow. Inhale. Curling over to the left. Inhaling again. And then exhale to the center. And rotate to the right. Exhale over at the right. Inhale again. Center. Let's do one more time to each side. And last exhalation, let the arms drop down. Just a little extra inhale, it kind of keeps that rotation just a little bit longer. It feels same, but different. All right, so now we're going to do an interesting pump. Instead of pumping both arms at the same time, this is a clearing exercise, we're actually going to be using the arms going in the opposite direction. So let's have your right arm up, left arm down, and they're both pressing back to the back of your room. And now as we bend the knees, the arms are both come down, or coming up, come down. Now the opposite hand reaches up. The other hand reaches down and back. So we're still bending at the knees. Now we're just moving our arms in opposite directions. Really good to pump energy through the lungs. It's great for the heart. We're using the legs to pump energy up, opening the shoulder. So we're still moving those arms to the back of the room. So we're getting a nice stretch through the entire thoracic cavity. The heart channel literally runs from the armpit in Chinese medicine, the heart, into the armpit, down the inner arm. And the lung is adjacent to that, the lung channel, I should say. So it's pumping energy through both of the organs themselves, but also the pathways that they correlate to. And then we'll start to slow down. Yeah, that's really good for shoulder health as well. And let's do a little igniting the inner fire. So let's bring our legs to a wider stance. Feet are facing forward. And this is where we come into a bend. So you can make it a little bend, you can make it a deeper bend. Really focusing on dropping your tailbone down though. So you still want your torso to be upright. And then palms together at the center of the chest. Start by creating some heat by rubbing the palms back and forth. Again, that heart channel goes right into the palms of the hands. Now, as the right elbow comes up, we're going to transfer the weight to the right. Then you turn and look left. Come back to the center. So palms up, fingers pointing up. And then over to the left and you turn and look right. Back to the center. So the weight shifts, the elbow comes up, and then you turn and look in the opposite direction to get a little stretch through the neck. And we're still moving the palms back and forth. So we're still generating heat in not only the legs, but through the palms and the arms. Back and forth, making sure you're breathing. You can make it a little bit slower if that feels good. Or you can pick up the pace just a bit. A little bit more heat will be generated. And then let's come to the center for a moment. Reconnect to the breath. Inhale, let's look up, heart to the sky. And then exhale, heart to the earth. So we just increased our heart rate. Now we're decreasing it, slowing the breath down. And come back to the center. We'll do that one more time. Let's come into our stance here. Knees bent, palms together. This time we'll start over to the left. Turn and look right, center, and then over to the right, look left. And come to the center again. Heart to the sky. So inhale. Heart to the earth. Exhale. And inhale. Just feeling a counter to a very yang movement is a yin movement. So we slow the breath back down. And then let's grab one wrist with the opposite hand And we'll do a few full body flows here. So inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, come forward with a flat back. Exhaling all the way over. And then slowly inhale. Really allowing the body to open up here to the front and then to the back. And one more. Exhale forward. Let's pause here, but continue to breathe. Just giving some space for the hamstrings to release, the back to release. And let's slowly roll all the way up one last time. And then release the arms down to the side. All right, let's bring our feet back to our shorter stance. And let's do a little stretch for the head, neck, and shoulder, and then we'll go into our flows. So let's do spreading the feathers. So let's start by gathering energy in front and in. So the palms are facing forward. You're going to inhale, draw your hands in towards you, and just spiral the fingers down. So we start with the palms facing forward. We inhale and gather in, and then the fingers stretch towards the earth. So inhale, in, and then down, and then one more time. And then we'll leave the arms in this position here, stretching towards the ground. Let the head tilt over to the left, and then gently let your head roll back and forward. It's unwinding. We spend a lot of time winding. We're winding up a lot. So this is an unwinding, an undoing. And then on the next exhale, just gently let your head come forward and float over to the right shoulder. Again, you might notice that one side, you might just have an awareness now that one side is tighter than the other. It's good information. Then we can work to create some balance between the two. What areas need a gentle reminder to relax, to open up? And then on the next exhalation, just let your head fall forward. Let the arms drop down. Pick your head upright. Just feeling that energy, the chi flowing, the little vibrations that start to percolate to the surface. So we just stretched the yang side of the arms. Let's do the yin. So this time we start with the palms facing back and we gather behind us. Spiral the hands in and then down. So the palms end up facing forward. We start gathering behind. So there's an inhale and then exhale, stretching the fingers down. So you should feel a little stretch now through the inner forearms. Inhale. And then tuck your chin back slightly. That will increase the stretch. So just like pulling your head back so your chin is not jutting forward, it's kind of pulled in towards you. And then one more time. Inhale and exhale. Let our heads tilt over to the left. And then gently start oscillating back and forth. And then let the head on the next exhalation come all the way forward. Let's end up over towards the right shoulder. And again, inhaling, rolling back, exhaling, rolling forward. And then on the next exhalation, let the head come all the way forward, the arms float down, head upright, feeling all of that space that you just created for energy, for blood to flow. And let's shake everything out now so we can go into our flows. Maybe let out a few sighs. Releasing the jaw. Maybe even feeling a little pumping action. If your shoulders are nice and relaxed, and the head kind of bobbles a little bit, you might feel a little pulsation or pumping in the back of the neck. And one last time. Okay, so we are going to be doing a few movements, Buddha holding up the earth, a form of Zen circles, and then something called single whip, which is actually part of Tai Chi form. So let's start with the palms facing up, fingers pointing towards one another, and then we're just going to slowly raise the arms up, turning the hands so they're facing the sky, and then exhaling, they float back down. Keeping those arms nice and relaxed so there's a lightness to them. And then start really paying attention to the space between the breath, right? At the transitional points, the top of the inhale, the bottom of the exhale. And see if we can like gently start to lengthen that transition by creating a pause. And notice in that pause is where the mind really settles. And we have form and formless, the concept of form and formless in QiGong. We start to pay attention both to the form and the formless. And everything is relative. So in this respect, the inhale and exhale are more form, and the space between them is formless. So we start to pay attention not just to the inhale and exhale, but what happens in between. Right, that's a pretty key feature when we say quieting the mind. What are we actually doing when we're quieting the mind? We're increasing the space between the thoughts. I mean, where that space is, the formless. And let's come into our chi ball for a moment. And then we'll go into a version of Zen Circles. So we're going to keep our left palm facing up down by your hip. We're going to be working first with our right arm. And we're still moving from the center of Zen Circles. So we're going to just turn subtly over to the left. And then the right arm's going to come across, up, over to the right. See, I'm noticing I'm turning my body, and then down. So the movement, rather than just an arm exercise, we're moving the body. The arm floats up, coming across as we rotate over and then down. Inhaling and exhaling. This is a movement called Zen Circles, creating that Zen mind. And then tying in the form and formless, we're creating this form with our movement and hands. You can kind of see this imaginary circle, and inside is all of the space. The yin and the yang. Right? We're creating this concept in our mind. And imagine that the circle represents life. And we're creating this relaxation around it. We're moving fluidly, relaxing the muscles even as we're engaging them. We're breathing quietly. Right? And then seeing how this is also a practice not only of how we kind of retain that ability to move with relaxation when the conditions are great, but also when life, being able to still move and navigate with a certain level of relaxation. And then that right hand comes down, and we'll go in the opposite direction now. So the left arm comes, we rotate to the right, the left arm comes across and up, over to the left, and then down. Noticing the space, the vastness, and how the mind starts to quiet as it absorbs that deep feeling of space and peace. And then let's come into our chi ball again. And then our final movement, single whip, really is a good representation of yin and yang and how they morph into one another. So we're going to start with the left arm coming up. The fingers will touch the thumb all together. So the wrist is extended, or flex, I should say, over to the left. And then you're going to bring your right arm underneath it. And then you're going to keep your left arm where it is. You're just going to rotate yourself forward. So you're facing forward. That right arm's going to come with you. And then rotate so your arm is perpendicular to the ground. Keep your fingers spread so your pinky side of your hand is facing forward. And then just gently extend it. And then exhale everything down. And you saw that I was making almost like a right angle with my arms. Exhale down. Now over to the opposite side. So the right arm is going to come out. The fingers are all going to touch the thumb. And then the left hand comes underneath. And then we rotate forward, making that right angle with our arms. And then the pinky side of the hand, we call this fan hand, extends. And then down. Coming over to the left. So this is the inhale. And then as we come forward with the right hand, this is the exhale, extending that pinky side of the hand down. And then we inhale. And then a long exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So as we come across, right, this bottom hand represents yang, the top hand yin. And as we start to move and flow, they start to transition into one another. So yang becomes yin, yin becomes yang. Inhaling. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Nice long inhale, and then we exhale. Let's do one more to each side. And then exhale, let's bring everything back into our chi ball. Just pulsing back and forth, feeling that energy, the chi. Feeling the form and then the space between the form. And then drop the arms down. And then let's bring the feet together and we'll finish off with centering. So we're going to inhale the right arm all the way out to the right and all the way up. And then exhale right down the center. And then the left inhale. And one more time to each side. And then let's meet in bamboo in the wind. Maybe make a few circles in the lower abdomen. And then we'll just pause here for the next 30 seconds or so. Just feeling the ground beneath our feet. That ease and flow of finding the center over and over again without really having to think about it. And when you're ready, you can crack your eyes open.